Good evening, ladies.
Good
Good
evening.
How's
evening.
everyone this evening? Everyone looks beautiful as usual.
You
So
as
welcome
well.
back, everyone out there in viewer land, to the Silver Lining. Once again, we have with us Ms. Kathy Reynolds, and Kathy is currently studying for her doctorate in divinity. So we still had some other questions we wanted to ask her, but hey guys, don't forget, please like, share, subscribe, and leave comments for us, because we're looking for your input too, to make us to be, we all want to be the best that we can be, especially when you're talking about, developing relationships in your later years. Because for me, whatever relationship I develop, I pray, and I will pray that it will be the last relationship, that it will be, sustaining for the rest of whatever my years are. So that's my prayer for myself. So,
Is that your why?
no, that's not my why. That's just my prayer.
Okay.
I want to have a sustainable relationship. If I meet someone, we're talking about over 50. So I know for me, I'm not trying to engage in 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, relationships. No, maybe dating and, meeting someone and getting to that point, but, not continually starting over. That's just not my goal. So last week, Kathy shared some really good, she gave us some really good nuggets to take away with us, something to chew on, I guess you can say. So she said that one of the reasons, or one of the things that you think about when you're going into a relationship, especially in the latter years, you start thinking about abstaining again. And I wanted to find out, she said that one of the reasons you decide to abstain is because you have a why. You have a reason why you've made that decision. So I wanted to ask you ladies, and you know what? If you don't have a why, you don't have a why. It's not a big deal. So, but I did want to ask you if you have a why. Wendy?
Well, I don't have a why, but I am definitely considering it. I mean, this is an interesting topic, very interesting. And the more the more you grow, right?
Right.
So I am trying to get better as a Christian, as a person. So this is all very interesting to me. If I had to choose a why, as I'm considering that, this abstinence in a relationship, because I've never done it before. I have to admit that. Never could.
Oh, you're just a naughty girl.
No, I've never considered it before. But I would consider it now, now that it's on the table, and I do see the meaning behind it. If my why, if I had one, would be to find a person that's equally yoked and compatible with me and ready to build a relationship.
So then you would want someone that would be would respect your decision, and be like you said, equally yoked. So it would have to be someone that, if you were truly deciding to abstain, that they're okay with that until you get to that point where you're going to, go for the long term.
Right.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. What about you, Vonnie?
No, I'm a naughty girl. I don't have a why. But like yourself, I don't want to go on dates and dates and dates. That's a no. Okay, that's a no. I really would like to find, that one person that can be a companion to me. I'm more so looking for a companion, someone that wants to travel and likes the things that I like, and they can live in their house and I will live in my house, and if I find that person, then I probably would be with that person. So I would abstain with other people.
Okay, I like that. So you would abstain from other people. Okay. So listen,
Yes.
So for me, and I hate to say I'm going to be a copycat, because initially I had said, okay, I might have to ask for redemption. But now, after listening to what Wendy said, maybe I don't necessarily have to really have a why, because if I meet the right person and we are equally yoked, then you know what? That's the why right there. The why is that we're equally yoked and we're both waiting until we get to that point where it is where it should be in terms of intimacy. So I like that, Wendy. I'm sorry I'm copying off of you, but I like that because I was probably going to have to be like Bonnie and ask for redemption. I'm sorry.
I'm not asking for redemption. God knows
well, look,
my soul.
she's not even asking for
knows what.
She's just gonna be bad, period.
Well, I don't want to be bad in the sense. That's why I said I don't like dating. Okay, I really don't like dating. And in the past, I have not, and I can say this truthfully, I have abstained. I guess that's what I should say. I have abstained. You know, these little dates and stuff like that. I never even liked it when I was young. You know, I just like to meet somebody and we click and that's how it goes, you know. But nowadays it's a little harder and it's getting a long time for that. But, you know, like I said, I just would like to find a companion and that would be good.
So Kathy, let me ask you, what about that? What about redemption? You know, you don't someone that doesn't abstain, you know, someone that's dating over 50, they meet someone, develop a relationship with that person, and really they don't know where it's going to go, but you know, things happen and they get to that intimacy level, and now the person, the female is feeling bad. Now she wants redemption for what she's done. So what do you say to that?
Okay, so I will address that after I just briefly, I do have a why. And I just, over the years, my relationships that were not good relationships for me, and that's my why. I want the person that is for me, and I'm not really interested I don't mind dating, but I want to be prayerful about who the person is, because if it's not the person that I'm supposed to be with, not to say that I, you know, wouldn't be friends and maybe spend some time with, but my focus primarily is who is the person that I'm supposed to be with, and that's all I want. My history from, you know, being in relationships that were not good for me is my why. That's one of the things that keeps me fueled. It keeps me in prayer to, you know, to continue to sustain me and trusting God for what He has for me. So, so your question is that if someone is a Christian and, you know, struggling with abstaining, and so now they have gone ahead and then after the fact, you know, feeling guilty and asking for redemption. And so, of course, you know, anytime that first of all, you know, being a Christian is a heart thing. You know, it's about,
yes, it is.
You know, it's about Christian. You know, it's about your heart and your relationship with God, your relationship with Christ. And so, we do feel bad when we do things, because none of us are perfect, you know, and we're not going to be perfect until the next life, until we are resurrected. So, but at the same time, we should not be practicing. We should not be practicing sin. Okay, so we do.
She said, Vonnie, you should not be practicing sin.
Okay, but listen. Let me. No, but listen. I'm talking about, you know, we're talking about spiritual things and the things of the Bible, and right. We're also talking about real life and how that how it interacts together. And so when I say we should not be practicing sin, that's just the word. That's the word of God. But to be more specific, what I'm saying is that we do all make mistakes, and it can be difficult dealing with, you know, circumstances in life and, you know, trying to abstain or whatever. So, but the thing is that we do want to ask for forgiveness, but we want to, you know, after that, you want to pray more, ask God to, you know, for His help, ask the Holy Spirit to help you. If you're really trying to be committed to being abstaining, that's what I'm saying. Because by doing so, when God answers our prayers, whether you've been a Christian for a long time or spiritually mature or not, the fact that when he answers our prayers, it makes us stronger. It makes us continue to, okay, God, I see you working in my life. I'm going to continue to trust you, even though maybe, the person that I want to marry is not in my life now, but I see you, answering my prayers. And so that makes us stronger. So if we fall, okay, so listen though, but if we fall and we ask for forgiveness, and I'm not saying, maybe we might fall again, but we want to be prayerful of not falling back into just practicing and just never really trying to pray and ask God's strength to be better, to do better. I mean, the question is this: it's a heart thing, and so how committed are you really to it? And I know it's not easy, but at the same time, if you're falling into it and then feeling bad, then we have to just pray more and ask people to pray for us and trust God to give us the strength to be committed to it.
Okay, so now with that said, would you consider a person like that, especially if they fell back into it a second time, would you consider that person a hypocrite?
Well, see, when you start talking about who's a hypocrite and who's not, like I said, it's a heart thing. Our relationship with God is a heart thing. He's the one who really knows. But our outside, how we live as Christians, people, they look at that, and so that's what a lot of times we a Christian will be judged by their lifestyle. And so, but to say that a person is a hypocrite, that's true. I would say that a person could be labeled as a hypocrite if they are not really a Christian. It's just lip service.
But Kathy,
what I'm saying? Okay.
I do know what you're saying, but if they truly are genuinely a Christian and that person was able to sway them above their prayers to God, right. I mean.
So yes, so what I'm saying is, if that person is truly a Christian, now we're talking about, we all succumb to, sin and different things in our lives. That's more in that category. To me, a person who is a hypocrite, if we're talking about being a Christian, a person who's a hypocrite, a true hypocrite when it comes to Christianity, is someone who is only portraying that they are Christian and they're really not. You see the difference?
No, I do see the difference.
That's why I'm defining.
No, I do
see what I'm saying. So in other words,
no, I do see the difference, but I still believe, a person can really have that kind of conviction and still fall back.
Absolutely. No. They can.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think what she's saying is that is between them and God.
Yeah, it is, and it really is.
So we are not throwing stones at them.
No.
Right. Right. Exactly. And so, but what I am saying is, okay, so the person, what you're saying, Chris, is that the person is a Christian and they just, struggle and met someone and things happen. Certainly, I totally understand what you're saying. But what I don't want to, keep belaboring over this. But what I'm suggesting, and you all, give me your feedback. What I'm suggesting is the person who does that may be different than a hypocrite, because a hypocrite is in the category of not really being a Christian. They're portraying on the outer that they are Christian, but they're really not. So in other words, why would a hypocrite even really ask for redemption? Because they really have never really surrendered to Christ in the first place.
Well, I like that. No, I like that, because
what I'm trying to say.
No, I know. I absolutely see what you're saying, and I like that, because I'm sure that a lot of people out there feel a whole lot better now. They wouldn't be considered a hypocrite if they truly are, spiritual within their heart, and they just, fall down, once or twice or whatever. They're not fake. They're not faking that. They're truly sincere. So I'm sure that will uplift and make a lot of people out there feel a whole lot better. So, hey, if you're out there and you're listening, leave us a comment. Let us know what you think about this whole thing of, abstaining, after you've been married and divorced, and now you're looking to develop new relationships as you move into your more mature years. So Wendy, have you ever found yourself feeling like you really wanted to abstain, but you just couldn't, you just couldn't, in your mind you wanted to, but the flesh was pulling you?
Well, I said before, I've never really considered it before. So I can't, I've been had never considered it before. But okay. I am now. And it's easy for us to have this conversation and not be in a relationship.
Right. That's
very
true. That's true.
That's true. So it's really tested when you're, in a relationship that's becoming, I don't want to say serious, but you know what I'm saying?
No, I do.
You're in a dating environment. Yeah, you're dating somebody. It's a little bit harder to, well, that's when you have to put the things that she's saying. I did listen to the last call before. So that's when you have to put those tips that Kathy gave us into play.
Exactly. So Vonnie, have you ever felt like that, or you just never really even went in that direction in terms of feeling like you really, really wanted to wait, but you just, so something about the person or the relationship just kept pulling you in and you just gave in? The flesh?
Oh, one thing, I never, ever promise God anything that I think I can't do. I never say, I'm never going to do this again, or I'm never going to do that again, because in my heart of hearts, if I feel like I'm going to fall down, I don't tell him that I'm going to do that, so that's number one. Number two, yes, I have been in a relationship where I was drawn to the person, they were drawn to me, and that's how it went. So I can't say I haven't, but what Kathy brings to the table is something to think about. But what I also think about is that being older is easier because years go by.
You mean it's easier to abstain? Yes,
yeah,
it is. Yeah,
exactly. It's
just because
it's
of the
so
circumstances.
easy.
Yeah, just
yes,
because of the
yes.
circumstances.
You're not meeting guys like you did in your 20s and your 30s and 40s. Now it's a little, nobody introduces you to their cousin, their uncle, their father, or whatever.
I know, right?
You got to do the dating services and things like that and meet stupid people. So to me, that makes it very easy for me to abstain because I'm not trying to be with stupid people.
No, I definitely agree with that. So Kathy, if you want to, because I know Wendy didn't have a chance to, even though she did listen to the last episode, if you want to touch on the last 2 points that you shared with us.
Yes, because I know one of the things that is really has been on my mind and I really enjoyed it. Again, thank you all so much for inviting me into the conversation. But one of the things that you said, Chris, was you were talking about how this whole idea of abstaining can be daunting, and that goes along with the fact that it's not easy. And even though it's biblical, and I certainly understand, we all understand that it's not easy, and that goes along with it being daunting. And so what I was saying, what I kind of started out saying in the beginning of this conversation, was the fact that I was just trying to encourage anyone who, and I'm not putting down people who, whether you are or you're not, we're just talking, and wherever you fall in this is where you fall. Mm-hmm. So, but I just want to encourage those who may be already abstaining, or like, you all have been talking about, they're thinking about it. Right. And so just my thing is that I would want to encourage our listeners, us and our listeners too, because as I said, whether you're a new Christian or mature spiritually, it's not easy. We all have to yield to God, and through prayer, and like Wendy said, it can become it's more difficult when you're actually in a relationship. It's easy to talk about it when
it truly is.
It really is. So I just want to encourage those to just begin to give God a try, really begin to, and as I said, also, Wendy, I was saying last week that, prayer is just conversation. There's a time and a place for us to get on our knees, right? But I'm talking about, Wendy, you may meet someone, and while you're talking with him, and just be, communicating with the Lord in your spirit about who this person may be. And Holy Spirit may reveal something to you at that time, or he may later on, something may come back to you about the conversation. Because y'all know, when we're talking with someone, especially, romance is fun and all of that. And sometimes we miss things that are, about the person's character. So, I would just like to encourage people, just to at least begin to, talk to God about it. Let me just say it that way.
Sure.
Talk to God about it, and watch and see how he may move and the Holy Spirit may show himself in your life. And the last thing I'm going to say about last week's conversation is, unless, there's anything else you all want to discuss about it, the word daunting. And it is true that it like I said, abstinence is not easy, but Bonnie, you're right. The older we are, it should be, and it is easier because it's harder to meet people the older you are. But anyway, but daunting, it can be. But Chris, there's a lot of things that's daunting. I mean,
Yes.
doing the same thing over and over again and not receiving, good results is daunting.
Yes.
And so, and so when we were talking about the why, right? This is what I was talking about with the why. The biggest thing about the why is wanting to be committed, deciding as a Christian to be committed to what God says about your destiny. Okay. Right. So your destiny includes relationships, but your destiny is bigger than a man, ladies.
Oh, absolutely.
But the thing is that there's a lot of things that are daunting. And when I think about some of my relationships, they were daunting. And that just keeps me focused. So I agree with you, Chris, that it can be daunting, but there's a lot of things that are daunting. And dealing with men that you should not be with is daunting.
Very much so.
I agree. And I've tried so many other things, so why not try abstinence?
Exactly.
Let's see how that works.
So ladies, one of the reasons that I wanted to talk about this when Kathy came on was I was listening to, there are so many relationship experts on social media these days. So there was a gentleman on, and he was talking to a young lady, and she had a child, so she'd been in a relationship. And she was looking for, quote unquote, a high valued man, and she wanted to abstain. So the gentleman, who is the relationship expert, so to speak, said to her, well, no high value. These were younger people, much younger than us. No high value man is going to wait around for a woman who already has a child to engage to be intimate, that they're just not going to do that. So that's one reason that I wanted to just kind of bring this to the table, because I don't think that they are either. I think they're going to move on unless you, like Wendy said, you meet someone that's equally yoked, that's on the same page with you. And we know how hard it is to truly meet someone that's on the same, not that it's impossible, because nothing's impossible, especially when you put God in the equation, but we know that it is difficult to meet someone and be on the same page with them. And they're wanting to support you and at the same time keep themselves in check. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
So Bonnie, you have any additional thoughts?
No, I think that everything we said is excellent. I think it's great for people who are listening. This is something to think about, because of all the things we talked about, we never talked about religion and putting that as a factor, as the why factor. So I like that. I like that idea. Thank you, Kathy.
What about you, Wendy?
Kathy, absolutely. I've been very impressed with what you had to say. It's been enlightening. And, it's funny because you don't get these types of, I don't know about you guys, but I've never had this discussion in church or
No, never.
Right.
you
right.
don't really get that direction. What do you do as a single person as far as relationships goes? I think they just kind of steer away from that and,
Right.
hope for the best. So this is different and this is interesting and it is definitely needed and hopefully it'll help us and somebody else listening out there.
Yes, we truly do hope it, helps someone that's listening to us. Please, guys, share this video with your friends. Please subscribe because we're always going to come back with some real invigorating conversations and guests as well. We truly appreciate you watching the videos. Please like, share, subscribe, and definitely leave a comment. So, ladies, as we wrap it up, it's really nice that everyone's, for the most part, in a different mindset. We're not all, I did copy Wendy to some degree, but I did admit that I was going to have to ask for redemption initially.
Well, I might, I mean,
I'm like between you and Bonnie. I'm like
I appreciate you all's honesty,
Yeah.
because that's what, we want to be real with people, and so, yeah, I appreciate that. I really do. I think all of us, I've lived too long. I'm just going to say it. I've lived too long. And the longer they say that about, as the older you get, you become more willing to, basically just, speak what it is, for what, according to what you, and I truly do believe in that. The older I get, I just, and I'm not ashamed. This is where I'm at. And I'm proud to say it, and all of us, so, but I've enjoyed this also. It's just, and there's so much talk out there that is on the other side of all of this. It's just good. It's just good to have refresh, and like you said, there are people that, that prayerfully they'll be blessed by what we're talking about, right?
Exactly. And you know what? I think so because most people, like we said, you don't think about this. And like Wendy said, it's not a conversation that you've had in church. I think most of the conversations.
Not a sermon that you've heard.
Exactly, a sermon that you've heard. And I think most of it's been in our heads. We're thinking about it. We probably don't even verbalize it. I know this is the first time that I've really verbalized it. So great conversation, Kathy. Thank you for coming back again. And once again, everyone, I wanted to remind everyone, Kathy has a book. It's Israel and the Great Tribulation. It is self-published. You can find this on Amazon. So guys, support her. Go get her book. Thank you. Ladies, it's been great. Great conversation. Really enjoyed everybody's input. You know what? And we're going to keep it going. Guys, please, if you're out there, please like, share, subscribe, because you know what? There's 4 of us here, but there's a lot of women out there who are over 50, who I am sure are thinking and feeling the same way that we are. So thank you all for watching. We'll see you next week.
Before you go, you never say, "This is Chris." You never say that. So,
oh, well, that is true. This is Chris. This is a conversation with Chris, the silver lining, because we do believe there is a silver lining.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate that, Wendy. And I will see you guys shortly. Have a good night.